Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as we are going for 200 subscribers. And today, Ace made a comment yesterday how Edmonton's fans and social media and everything kind of plays our defense to be better than it is. So that inspired me. I'm not saying he's wrong. Yeah, maybe we do hype up our defense a little too much. But the purpose of this video is because of his comments, so thanks to Ace. And let's get going as we're going to look, has the Edmonton Oilers defensive core, just defense, have they proven since the 2010-2011 season, so in the last 10 years? And let's start. So let's start with that 2010-11 roster. You know, you had Ryan Whitney, 35 games played, 27 points. That is unbelievable. I wish he played more games that season. We also had Tom Gilbert, Curtis Foster, Jim Vandermeer, Theo Peckham, Lavisav Smeed, and of course Petrie was between the minors that year and the NHL. He played 35 games. Chorney played 12. Jason Strudwick played 43, and then there's a couple more that didn't really play much. Now let's look at our defense right now. Nurse, Clefbaum, Larson, Bear, Russell, and we're going to go for fun, Legason and Bouchard and Probert. We're just going to put 9 defensemen out there because we don't know any other news along that. And over the years, a lot of people actually played defense for them and Oilers. So those 9 compared to these 9, I would say, you know, our defense this year is better than what we had in 2010, 2011. Like, if you kind of look, yeah, Jason Strudwick, you know, he was a decent defenseman. Same with Peckham and Smeed, and like Jim Vandermeer, like, you know where I'm going with this. Like, Theo Peckham had a 198 point or penalty minutes that year. So we all know that was more fighting than anything. But if you look at those guys compared to what we have now, I believe that this team is better this year than it was 10 years ago, defensive wise. So let's just go to the next season here. I just gotta pick it. Okay, so the following season, you had basically a new look defense. Like, there were some of the players that year. So you got Jeff Petrie, Corey Potter, Ryan Whitney, Tom Gilbert, Smeed, Andy Sutton, Nick Schultz, Theo Peckham, Cam Barker, and Alexander Plant. So looking at that, you know, okay, well, we know how Petrie is now in Montreal. He's proven that he wants to stay in Montreal, so on and so forth. But if you look at this 2011 team, 2012, if you were to rate that defense compared to the rest of the NHL that season was horrendous. Like, that defense was just, no, thank you. We don't want any of that. You know, we don't even know where Corey Potter went after his time in Edmonton. Ryan Whitney, I think, retired. Tom Gilbert is somewhere. He did come back to Edmonton for, 2 games or something. You know, Andy Sutton, Nick Schultz, Theo Peckham, Cam Barker. Who knows what happened to them after they went to Edmonton? Like, I could look this up, but that might bore you guys. So let's go on to the 2012-2013 season. You know, Justin Schultz is now in the mix with us. We still have Ryan Whitney. We got Jeff Petrie, Nick Schultz, Mark Fistrick, Corey Potter, Smeed, and Peckham. So over those 3 years, Peckham went from playing 70-some games to 50-some games down to 4. So that tells you right there, if Peckham's going from 70-some games down to 4 games in a matter of 2 seasons, right there our defense wasn't that great to start with. Like, he fell off the snide, or, you know, we got a bit better. Now, with that saying, that year we only used 8 defensemen, which is pretty good. Don't get me wrong. Considering Peckham only played 4 games, we used 7 defensemen basically all season, and the games were split out because that was the lockout season. That's right. I totally forgot about the lockout season. So our defense there, without having all the numbers because of a full season, I'd still give our defense this year the credit. Yeah, Fistrick wasn't that bad, but we still had guys minus 17 for Schultz, minus 13 for Nick Schultz. We had the Schultz line there for a little bit. Now let's go to the 2013-2014 season, where, okay, well, we got Nuge, he's pretty much there, helped the defensive wise. We haven't yet drafted, sorry, I got a phone call here. So that was Oscar Klefbom's first season with the Edmonton Oilers after getting drafted. So that year we actually used 14 defensemen. We used Justin Schultz. That was the year we signed Andrew Ference. We used Petrie. We used Philip Larson, Anton Beloff. Who remembers that guy? That shot he had but couldn't hit the net? Yeah, that guy. Martin Marincin, Corey Potter, Nick Schultz, Oscar Klefbom, Tyler Fadoon, Smead, Frazier, Grabiskov, and Hunt. Who remembers Grabiskov? Like, no tomorrow. 14 defensemen used in one season, that's kind of hard to do. And, their plus minuses were horrendous. Minus 22, minus 18, minus 22. That's your top 3 guys, Peachy, Ference, and Schultz. You're not going to win with that defense. Just Martin Marincin's not a top 6 defenseman, or a top 4 defenseman, sorry. Philip Larson's not. Corey Potter's not. Oscar Klefbom was just a rookie, so we can't really put his stats into that. Now, I'd give the Edmonton Oilers this year's defense, props, because I believe they are better than the first 4 seasons we had. Now, the 14-15 season, Schultz, Klefbom, Petrie, Ference, Nikita Nikitin, Mark Fane, Marincin, Hutt, Muzzle, Davidson, Osterley, Keith Ollie, and Darnell Nurse. That was the year Darnell Nurse got drafted. He played 2 games with the Edmonton Oilers, and the rest was in Sault Ste. Marie. Now, 13 defense, well, take out Darnell Nurse because he was kind of just a trial there. So technically 12 defense. Okay, yeah, we got Klefbom. And if we put Klefbom with our roster this year, it wouldn't make it fair because we signed Barry because of him, right? That was one of the reasons. So Schultz, Klefbom, Petrie. They were horrendous that year too. Minus 17, minus 21, minus 25. Andrew Ference, minus 15. Mark Fane, minus 21. None of our defense was within that 0 or higher. I know it's harder for a defenseman. David Muzzle was our best plus-minus guy, and Darnell Nurse, I guess, minus 2. So you look at that defense. Okay. Larson over Schultz. I'd take that any day. We aren't going to include Klefbom in this because he's still an Oiler. Petrie, Barry. I'd take Tyson Barry all day, every day. Andrew Ference, Chris Russell. Russell does a lot more. He doesn't put the points up, but he does the little things that matter to the Edmonton Oilers. Mark Fane, Ethan Bear. Fane wasn't really that good. Ethan Bear all the way. Martin Marincin or who did I say? Caleb Jones. That's a toss-up. Depending on how Caleb Jones actually comes in, I would say Caleb Jones right now. So right there, I think our defense this season is better than the 2014-2015 Edmonton Oilers. Now we go to the 2015-2016 season. This is where kind of our defense, somewhat how our defense now was this season. So we had Sekera, we had Clefbaum, Davidson, Schultz, Nurse, Fain, Clendenning, Greiba, Osterley, Adam Party, Nikita, Griffin Reinhardt, Andrew France, and Brad Hunt. The old Griffin Reinhardt trade. How bad of a trade was that for them Edmonton Oilers? But anyway, that defense isn't actually that bad. Brandon Davidson isn't a top 4 guy. Darnell Nurse was just coming in the league at that point. So really, we had a pretty good top pairing, Clefbaum and whoever else. Like, we had 2 good defensemen, Clefbaum and Sekera. And that was about it. And Darnell Nurse, of course. So then we go to the 16-17 season. This is how this all started. Clefbaum, Sekera, Larson, Benning, Russell, and Nurse. With, of course, you had Greiva playing 40 games, Mark Fame 40, Brandon Davidson 28, Jordan Osterley, and Dylan Simpson 2 and 3, respectively. Now, that defense was actually pretty good that season. Listen to this. +7, +14, +21, +8, +5, 0, and then -5. -5 was our worst. That was our, besides Jordan Osterley, -1 in 2 games. Exactly. We were a solid defensive team. Our defense was there. Like Adam Larson, +21. And he had 19 points. So he was perfect that game, or that year. Clefbaum, 38 points. Sekera, 35. So if I were to take that and our roster now, it'd be a close tie. Like, that roster there, with Sekera being in his prime like he was a few years ago, I would take that roster any day, every day. But I think, our defense roster right now is about the same as how that was. Now let's go to 17-18 season, Nurse, Benning, we had Johan Avit 2, however you say it. Keegan Lowe played a couple games. Ethan Bear played 18 that season. And that was the 2017-18 season. And they were not bad. Darnell Nurse was a +15. Matt Benning was a +5. Clefbaum -12. Russell -7. Adam Larson was a +10. We had a couple D-men that just kind of, didn't work out that season, and so on and so forth. Now we go to the 2018-2019 season. That's the arrival of Evan Bouchard. Caleb Jones was up for a bit. That's when we did the trade for Alex Petrovich. I don't know why. The Brandon Manning trade. We signed Garrison. We traded for Chris Weidman. And, that was Chiarelli just grasping at straws for defensemen. But, Kevin Gravel didn't actually do a terrible job. He was -2 with 4 penalty minutes in 36 games. Like, I would have liked to see him kind of be up with Edmonton Oilers a bit more than he was. Adam Larson was a -28. That was pretty bad. But other than that, the defense wasn't bad. And, I'd match that with what we have today as our roster. And then, of course, last season. I'm just going to skip that because you guys know how it went. We got into some penalty trouble, and our defense wasn't too bad last season. Like, Clefbaum was -17, but everyone else was -2, -4, -1, 0, 8, 0, -1, -1, -2, and -4. Like, our defense wasn't terrible last season besides Clefbaum went the +-. So let me know what you guys think. Is the Edmonton Oilers defensive roster better than it was 10 years ago, 9, 8, whatever? We have seen a big change from 2010 to 2015, where the emergence of Clefbaum came in, then 2016, the emergence of when we drafted Darnell Nurse And of course, Bear and all those guys. Or Darnell Nurse was a couple of years before that, sorry. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll catch you guys on the next one.